If I disappear after making this video, it's because a certain dev at Digital Eclipse finally got tired of me just leaking all this stuff, man. I think it's about time that the FBI kicks the door down and I get sent to the Netherrealm, because if this is legit, my bad. I come in peace. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Dynasty, and I definitely didn't just record a 30-minute video breaking all this stuff down like 2 minutes prior to saying this, this video you're watching, so I'm going to try my best to give you guys the greatest second take of all time. Yes, according to what I'm seeing and reading, we're going to be going over it. We're getting the PlayStation 1 version of Mortal Kombat 4 in the Legacy Collection. Now, I have to say this because nothing is concrete, 110% officially confirmed, so just take this for face value, take it for what it is. It's an article being posted from a website that at times has been legit, has been completely wrong. They sent somebody to EVO over the last weekend, and apparently they got a chance to talk to Dan Amrich, who... Gold 9! Yeah, that whole debacle, yeah, that Dan Amrich at Digital Eclipse, and I'm not kidding, they're straight up saying, yeah, he told me that we're getting the PlayStation 1 version of Mortal Kombat 4 in this collection, and sadly, there's no video proof, there's no audio proof, so all we can do is take this guy's word for it. Remember when I said this stuff gives me PTSD? Well, this in particular is giving me more PTSD to last week than anything else I've discussed in the last week. If you know, you know. What's up? Your boy Dynasty. Yesterday, PlayStation might have just leaked the digital release of the Legacy Collection from September 30th to now October 30th. Again, that ain't 110% confirmed, but I did not think that a day later, I would be breaking this here on the channel, like, hey, by the way, Mortal Kombat 4 PlayStation version apparently on the way, especially when we're supposed to only have 2 big reveals left, including next Thursday's broadcast at Gamescom in Germany. So, maybe this is what gets revealed at EVO next week, I don't know, but nonetheless, I'm gonna unpack everything again. I hope this does not get anybody at Digital Eclipse fired, Dan Amrich, if it is real. Dan, you're doing the Elder God's work if this is real. But before we break all this stuff down, you guys know the drill. It takes you a second, drop a like on the video, and again, I must stress, take this for what it is, because even me, I'm kind of on the fence, because it really... It's not gold, but it is what it is. If you don't know, for the most part, the PlayStation version of Mortal Kombat 4 gave you the ability to have a training mode, a team battle mode. Believe you could also use Goro. I want to say there was something else. I'm trying to remember. There's one more thing. Cheat codes? I think cheat codes as well. So, it's not the gold version of Mortal Kombat 4, but I guess you could say it's the definitive version in that aspect. I believe also, like, the endings have better video quality than the arcades or something like that. I never grew up playing the PlayStation version of Mortal Kombat 4. I didn't, I'm being real, so I had to ask you guys for some help on this, so I'm done yapping. If you don't want to see me yap, I'll have it linked down below, but with that said, again, I already recorded this whole video, but hey, we're doing it again because my audio wasn't plugged in. Let's get into it. Alright, so here goes nothing. This is coming from thegamer.com, and you guys do know we've referenced them several times over the last decade on the channel. Again, at times, they've given us some really good interviews from people in the industry like Boone. Then I believe they've gone off and made claims like Mortal Kombat 2 would take place in space, things of that sort. So again, it's always been 50-50, it's been hit and miss. And this got posted 2 days ago, which I think is crazy because, again, I clicked on this article to read something completely different. I saw a mention of, like, the Sega version of MK4, and I'm reading through this article, and I find this excerpt, and I shit myself. Not literally. But I was sitting there like, did I just read that on my phone? What? I even asked you guys, am I tripping? You guys are like, bro, that's not been officially confirmed yet. So... that's why we're here, but they posted this article 2 days ago dubbed, "It features more than 20 games! Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection interview. If this does not come to fruition, this was written by Axel Basso. So we have to trust Axel Basso. That is the source. That is where we're getting all this new information from, okay? Now, I could just gloss over the entire article and give you the meat and potatoes, but I do think it's probably worth reading this because the quotes that we do get from Dan Amrich are, I think, worth discussing. So it says here at EVO 2025 in Las Vegas, the gamer sat down with digital Eclipse content editor Dan Amrich to dive deeper into what to expect from this new bundle. Again, Dan is the same guy in that interview. Was it Gold? Is it 9? He was there at the EVO showcase sitting along Stephen Frost. He's the guy that said the last 7 months have been crazy and hectic. He's quite the character. Honestly, I like his energy. It's kind of OP, to be honest. But it says here it was bound to happen. I guess they're talking about the Legacy Collection, but I feel like this could also be a reference to Dan Amrich leaking shit. Let's start things here. It says, in the 90s, Amrich was a games journalist working for different magazines, such as GamePro in 1995. Fresh off the launch of Mortal Kombat 3, he interviewed the creators Ed Boon and John Tobias for an article. When it was announced that Midway was working on the 4th entry, he pitched them an idea for a book about the history of Mortal Kombat. Amrich got a positive reply, but panicked and never followed up. Going on, it says, 30 years later, Amrich finally closed the loop. Now working on Digital Eclipse, he not only got the chance to work on a collection that will feature more than 20 titles from Mortal Kombat's arcade era, but he also got to participate in a documentary that will be included in the collection. I know a lot of this stuff is just being rehashed. Trust me, some of these quotes are worth discussing. Now, next up, we have the quotes right here. It says, I literally brought stuff out of my personal collection and put it in the game, he explains. I have some behind-the-scenes photos of Carrie Hoskins, aka Sonya Blade, from Mortal Kombat 3 that I don't think have been seen in 30 years, but they were sent to me as a PR asset. I have the Mortal Kombat 3 flyer, these behind-the-scenes photos, and these John Tobias sketches. I scanned them all in. I'm so excited to see all this extra content. Kind of funny. Somebody the other day was like, okay, 3 hours of documentary footage. What could there possibly be that you haven't seen already? I don't care. I don't care. Give me all the goodies, including these sketches. Says here, I asked Amrich about his opinion on remakes and remasters and how some re-releases of the classic titles end up changing what made those games great in the first place. He assures me that Digital Eclipse is working hard on restoring the games as they were, with the chance to give you a few options, such as a CRT and resolution filter, if you want a more modern experience. Now, as far as I know, I don't think we've seen conversations or confirmation of filters, really, if at all too much. I think maybe out of EVO there was maybe a mention of it by somebody, I can't recall. But right here, clear as day, there you go. You're going to have a CRT filter and some resolution filters for the Legacy Collection. Every single day I get a comment from you guys saying, yo, Dynasty, what's the optimization with the whole display stuff? Like, is it going to be 4K? What's it going to look like? There you go. I can't tell you exactly how upscaled it's going to be, but there is going to be resolution filters. I'll probably be pulling the CRT filter because when you get these classic collections, I always feel like that's like the best way to re-experience everything. Speaking of that, quote right here kind of says that. We want you to walk into a museum and see. This is exactly what it was, explains Amrich. We understand that times have changed in the last 30 years. This is probably more fun if you turn on these options, but it's up to you. We don't change what it was originally. We just enhance how it is now if you want. We will always try to improve the original, but there are options. We need to leave the original in there so you can see people didn't care about this problem back then because it was so much fun. So yeah, staying true to the OG while also giving you nice filters like CRT. Yeah, because you really, you're playing 4K TV. Like, the CRT might actually make it more viewable and not so damn pixelated and sharpened. It might be too sharp without it. So, Trilogy and Mortal Kombat 4 are on the menu. This is where shit gets real, guys. I don't think you're ready for this. I don't think you are. When I ask Ermac about which games will be included, he tells me that not all the titles have been revealed yet, but there are a lot of surprises that fans will look forward to. For example, the Game Gear and Game Boy version of the first Mortal Kombat, or the 32X and Game Boy releases of MK2. At the stand at EVO, I got a chance to try the PlayStation version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which has been restored for the first time. Some more quotes from Mr. Leaker himself, Dan. I gotta stop, he's gonna get mad at me. We knew that Trilogy was really important to people, says Ermac. It's the game that a lot of people spent the most time with. If you played Mortal Kombat 3 or even MK3, you spent the most time with Trilogy because you had the luxury of having it at home, right? You would put in hundreds of hours rather than spending money at the arcades. Facts! For a lot of you guys, that was not only a lifesaver, but I guess technically a lifesaver, but a money saver. The thing with Trilogy is that a lot of super fans don't prefer the PlayStation version because it had bugs in it, particularly a lot of loading bugs. That's the nature of hardware back in 1995. We went into the code and we found that some of the loading time was actually baked into the code and that it was stuff that we could remove. So you're not going to see any extra long loading times. The loading times, you remember, will not be there. Now, if you guys want to actually see a comparison, we actually discussed this, I want to say, like a week or so ago. I'll have a card on the screen right now because, yeah, it's honestly pretty damn drastic the way they've improved. How, like, Shang Tsung's morphs have actually been added to this enhanced, updated version of Trilogy. Now, this is where shit gets real. Right here. This quote. This is the quote. This is it. This is the reason why you're watching this video. It's the reason why I'm re-recording it and sweating my ass off in front of these LED lights. My hair looks a lot more greasy than it did the first time around, but here we go. Ermac also tells me that it's the first time Digital Eclipse is emulating PlayStation, which was a real technical challenge for them. It was necessary because the collection will also feature the PlayStation and arcade versions of Mortal Kombat 4, the first 3D entry in the series. That's me dropping the mic. That is the mic drop. You can see there. You can see there again. Ermac also tells me it was necessary because the collection will also feature the PlayStation and arcade versions of Mortal Kombat 4. That's it. That's the source. That is the meat and potatoes. Do you see why I'm so torn up about this quote? Again, no audio, no video, not even a literal quote where he's saying this in quotations. Straight up just, Ermac tells me. I'm gonna go crazy here. If this ends up being true, bro, the leaks have been insane for this. So yeah, there you go. That is it. That is the basis of this video. It was necessary because the collection will also feature the PlayStation arcade versions of Mortal Kombat 4, which again, if you can't get Mortal Kombat Gold, this is a nice consolation prize because again, you get like the training mode, you get the team battle, you get Goro, you get cheat codes. You know, you get better endings. I believe it's better endings. So, I mean, it is what it is. I still hope we're getting gold, but initially, like I said, when I was reading this article, I was reading this for this right here. Sega Genesis quote. And then I found this, and I could not believe what the fuck I read. I could not believe that this was just casually mentioned 2 days ago, and not a single soul in this community has pointed this out to discuss. So, better late than never. Yeah. We'll have to see what happens. Now, going on to the end here, we should probably discuss it because, Ermac's quoted talking about things that I really want to see, like crossplay. He pretty much shoots me in the heart and says that, yeah, it might not ever happen. When I ask him why the team is tackling so many versions of the classic games, he points to the deep emotional bonds that players have with the specific versions they grew up playing. As soon as we announced this collection, people were like, you need to have this version. And they brought up their favorite game. Sometimes they're naming games that were like, gosh, we'd like to be able to do that, but we just can't. We're trying to create an archive that will last, and we're trying to give gamers a chance to play what they never got to play and appreciate the franchise on a different level. And funny enough, like I just said, straight up, they were advertising this article somewhere, I believe on X, talking about the Sega Genesis UMK3 version. For example, Ermac mentions the Sega Genesis UMK3 as one of the few titles they couldn't restore, but they're still working on it. Is this our first DLC game? If they can manage to fix this? But again, just like the whole MK4 PlayStation port, Ermac mentions... Where is he mentioning this? Where? Where the fuck was this mentioned? Please. Can somebody give me the quote other than... Well, he told me. Perform classic fatalities online. That's how I feel right now. About to share with you guys some really depressing news. Here we go. One of the most exciting aspects... That's funny. This collection is the ability to play these titles online. This was something already available in the previous arcade collection, but the netcode and matchmaking systems have improved a lot over the years in the genre, and Digital Eclipse is fully aware of that. Ermac tells me that all games with online modes will have rollback netcode, and they are happy with the results they had from closed betas around the country. So hey, they're already testing it in closed betas. Hey, Digital Eclipse, let me know if you need to have someone test from Texas. However, he explains that the online system will be functional, but it might not work as well as it does for other current titles. Now, I wasn't expecting some type of like insert 2025 online multiplayer game connection, but so long as it's smooth, we're okay. But this is where my heart got torn like a Kano heart rip. We're not really positioning this as you're a hardcore competitive gamer, you're going to want to be here, but we are making it so that it's predictable, so that it's smooth. We're actually testing online right now at the studio. The time of this writing, every game features an online mode, except for the handheld versions, which again, if you gripe about that, you're a fucking idiot, apparently. How dare I? How dare I want to play the handheld versions with my friends online? How dare I have wanted to host an online tournament on the worst portable port ever? How dare I have wanted that? But right here, he also adds that while crossplay is being considered, there is no guarantee that it will be available in the future, and the collection will definitely launch without it. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll back up so I don't feel any more sad and depressed. But yeah, there's the article from thegamer.com again. This is coming from Axel Basso 2 days ago. So, if this shit's wrong, don't shoot the messenger. So yeah, I can't wrap my head around this. I really can't. It's kind of crazy to think that casually he might have slipped up again and this got reported and no one's talking about it. Again, he could have heard wrong. We don't have the audio and the video to listen to. Maybe he heard wrong, but we have not had any official confirmation that we're getting any other version of Mortal Kombat 4 other than the arcade version. So do with this information as you will. I'm content with it because, again, you are getting the definitive version of MK4 in a lot of ways with the PS1 ports. But if this is what gets revealed next week and this kind of just takes away all the steam for the Gamescom reveal, in the heart, dude, because I was really hoping for gold. Not to say that this isn't one of those final 2 games or final 2 reveals and we still have gold, but dude, again, I wanted gold, and I wanted Sub-Zero Mythologies. I also wanted Special Forces. But you can't always get what you want. Sometimes you gotta settle, and I think this is a decent consolation prize. I think so. Some of you guys probably think it's a waste of resources, it's pointless, it's inferior to the arcade version. I hear you. I hear you entirely. I agree. But, nonetheless, this happened. Apparently. So yeah, there you go. That is the update for today. Another day means another leak. Again, hopefully Digital Eclipse does not kick my door down. Hopefully Dan does not get fired. Hopefully Dan does not come over and perform a fatality in Minecraft on me. Hopefully this does not get anybody in trouble. Maybe this leads to some confirmations before Gamescom. I doubt it. They're probably not going to say anything at all and probably not going to acknowledge this leak. Again, maybe they do if this blows the fuck up, but I'm not from the future. So, what do you all think of this? Again, this is my second time recording this, and hopefully I did it some justice. The first time was hilarious, and I still think I did some pretty decent jobs here explaining this the best way I can. I hope I didn't just overlook any of this information because I was bringing out a bunch of points the first time around. But it is what it is, man. It really is what it is. This could be nothing. All this could be nothing. It could simply just be this guy completely misremembered wrong. He wrote this article. If we see the article get updated, we know it's wrong. But until then, this is as it stands. So, what do y'all think of this? Again, drop a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for some more MK content like this on your channel. Dynasty breaking news in Mortal Kombat. What's new? Will he ever get credit for it? I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And Dan, I'm sorry. Dan. Steven, if you're watching, Steven, I'm sorry. Digital Eclipse. All you gotta do is say, the article's wrong. And the hype's all the way back up. So, you know, just saying. If I'm gonna be honest, this just makes perfect sense. Like, obviously, I'm still holding out hope that we get Gold, Mythology, Sub-Zero, Special Forces. I know I'm crazy for wanting these games. Not lost to time. But if you want people there at Gamescom to be hands-on, obviously you could have Trilogy, the PS1 version like we saw at EVO, but they're hyping this up like 2 more reveals. I think the best thing they could do if we're not getting Gold is to kind of fill that void with like this PS1 version, definitive version. At least people would be having fun. I'm sorry, all 5 Special Forces fans and 20 Mythology Sub-Zero fans. I shouldn't be so hard on Mythology Sub-Zero, but you get what I'm saying. Like, playing a single-player game at Gamescom would be kind of lackluster in comparison to, like, going over to the Atari booth and playing with your homie Mortal Kombat 4 on the PS1. Like, that just makes so much more sense. So, we'll see if this gets revealed next week. I'm going to take it for what it is. Again, nothing is official yet. It could be a mishap, but I do think it's worth pointing out. So, there you go. That's it. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Again, drop that like, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Stepping on it crack, but I'm not superstitious. Count all these racks, I'll be steady,